Welcome to the podcast. My name is Rusty Diamond. I am here once again, as I always am, and today I have a guest, a special guest who is here. And this guy, he's been surfing, got to surf all over, which is so cool. Got to go and act, which is so cool, and just here, which is even cooler. And so this been in Tombstone, been in Point Break, been in Return of the Living Dead, and North Shore. Um, and I think it was North Shore was the one that I knew you from the most. And so without anything else, I wanted to bring in John Philbin. How you doing?
I'm great. It's great to see you.
Dude, yeah,
Bye,
you too.
Rusty.
Thank you so much again for doing this.
No
And
worries.
yeah,
My
it's
pleasure.
yeah, yeah, so I mean, so I have a couple older brothers, and so and I mean I watched North Shore quite a number of times. So I mean that was kind of my intro. And I mean just how great it is you get to go out and go surfer. And you're already a surfer too, is that correct?
Yeah, I
Before
was a
you were
surfer. I
acting?
grew up surfing and then I became an actor and then I got to be in a surf movie and it changed my life.
So um so were you in California then? Is that where you
Yeah,
grew up then?
I was born and raised in California. I was born in California and I grew up in California. I've lived here all my life. I've traveled a lot, but I haven't found a place I want to live more than California right now anyway. Right now it's good for me and it's been good for me for 62 years. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a pretty good amount of time. That's not too bad there.
Yeah,
And
but
yeah, I mean,
I travel to Hawaii and to Indonesia a lot and Europe lately, Europe, and I love it. It's not
oh,
that I don't love it. I love to travel in other countries, but I like to live in California. Yes.
so then where's your favorite spot to surf then?
It's a place in Java, Indonesia called G-Land. It's Bobby's surf camp. The guy I know, this friend of mine, has a surf camp in Java at Grudgigan, and it's called G-Land, and I think the best wave in the world for me, for what I like to do, for my surfing.
So your style of surfing is more
I'm a cruiser, but I like barrels. I like long offshore barrels. I don't do a lot of maneuvers. I like to get a long left reef break where the
yeah.
water's warm and it's offshore and I can get tubed sometimes. And if I don't get tubed, I can have a really beautiful ride in a tropical place.
Yeah, I mean that you can't really beat that. I
Well,
had yeah. I mean I grew up in Oregon. And so I mean I had friends that would go out and surf out in sort of near like Newport, Oregon, which is midway up Oregon, and with with wetsuits on. And that's a a different experience than what you're doing. Do you do any with wetsuits, or
oh
you?
yeah, I mean, I live in LA, and I teach surfing. So I wear a wetsuit every day that I'm working. I wear a full wetsuit
Wow.
every day I
Oh,
work. I never want to feel a chill ever because I might have to go to work later that day or the next day. So I'm always fully rubbered up, and some people are like, how can you do that? And I go, I don't want to ever feel cold because I'm working, and I don't want to take it out on the client. It's like, yeah, I'm cold, like they can be cold. That's fine. I'll make jokes about them, but I don't want to be cold.
yeah, yeah, no reason to. And I mean, if you're in the ocean, it's got to feel pretty all right either way. I mean, you can't
It's
really
great to be in
go.
the ocean. Yeah, I got lucky in that had uh, when I stopped when I wasn't working enough as an actor, I really kind of stopped working and I didn't have any other skills. I had no skills. I was an overtrained, underemployed actor, bitter actor, but I had no other skills. And I just thought the only thing I can do is surf, like I wonder if I can teach surfing. So I went to a camp. I was way too old to be doing this, but I learned that I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed doing private surf lessons with interesting clients. And that's what I do. I've been doing that for 20 years. It's been really good for me.
So is that I mean, is that people coming in doing maybe a couple people at once, or is it groups of larger groups, or?
Well, it's evolved over time. It started, I worked at a surf camp where you just pushed little kids into waves, and you set up tents and, okay, kids, we're going out. Like sometimes you'll have 3 little kids on your board, stand up. And then it progressed into private lessons where I started working with like some clients up in Malibu that were, movie actors. And
Oh,
so I
okay.
ended up training Kate Bosworth how to surf for them, to play a surfer for Blue Crush. And I got back into kind of entertainment industry through
Oh,
teaching surfing. And now I've got like a reputation as being in both. And I've worked, as a surf, I don't know, what would you call it, consultant on a bunch of movies in Hollywood where they have surfing involved. And then
yeah.
and also I've given lessons to some pretty interesting people, because I do it through word of mouth and stuff. So, and I really actually enjoy it. I love private lessons with an interesting person that wants to learn how to surf and loves it.
Yeah. Do you get to choose where you go? Do you say, "Oh, I really wanna go to Indonesia and teach this person how to surf the right way," and,
I can, yeah. I mean, it depends on the client. If the client's like, hey, I want to go to Indonesia and surf, I'm like, great. I'm with you. Or if they want to go, I'm going to Mexico. We're going to Tahiti. I've never been to Tahiti. I'm
oh,
prone to hyperbole. Some people say, are you lying right now? But the truth is I've never been to Tahiti, but I've been to Fiji and Indonesia and Mexico teaching surfing with clients that wanted to go on a trip, but they wanted their surf instructor with them. It sounds tawdry,
wow.
but it's actually quite lovely.
That sounds pretty alright,
Yeah, but when
yeah.
my bread and butter is here is in Malibu. I don't live in Malibu anymore, but my bread and butter is to go down to Malibu and teach surfing to people who want to learn at this little spot that's good for beginners. And then as they get better, we travel. Like I've got a client I've been with for 8 years who's such a good surfer now. He's just an uber athlete from Colorado, from Denver. He's just an amazing athlete. And he just took to surfing later in life. And now he rips. Like we surf Rincon a bunch of times. He goes to Kelly Slater's surf ranch, gets barreled now. We've only
Whoa.
been surfing for 8 years, and he's getting longer barrels than I get when I go to Indonesia. It's like whoa. But it's not for everybody. But some people really take to it, and he's been just a wonderful client. He's a friend now and a really good surfer.
Yeah, I mean, that's a pretty alright job to be
Yeah,
able
I go
to.
wherever he wants me to go.
Yeah, and like, "Okay, well, yeah, twist my arm, I'll go out and surf somewhere fun," and, so I saw your mug, you're a cat dad? You have a cat? Or
My
is
cat.
you
Oh
got on your mug?
fuck.
Is it just a mug?
Cat dad. I am now a cat dad. I married into it. I mean, I'm engaged to be married on December 28th. I'm going to get married in Hawaii.
Congratulations. Oh,
Thanks. In Hawaii,
awesome.
on the North Shore at Keiki Beach, secret location. I can't, but yeah, I've become a cat dad. My fiance has this cat named Keeper that I've fallen in love with, and she'll come home and she'll see me just spending private time petting the cat on my lap, me like talking to the cat. And she got me this mug as a joke because I've become a cat dad. I'm a dog guy, and I want a dog desperately, but I do love her cat and I want her cat to have a great life.
Yeah,
But
and
I think it's possible to have both, but we'll see.
I think that's always a good thing, when she sees that the cat really likes you and that you're able to bond really well with the cat, that's usually a pretty good sign, and
Yeah, it's one of the things that are important to her. Like
yeah,
if I was mean to her cat, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be in this house right now. We wouldn't be getting married.
yeah, I hear you on that one, and
But I love her
yeah,
cat. I love animals, period, but I love her cat.
yeah, that's really cool. I like that. So then, yeah, so you're going back to Hawaii, that's gonna be or is that, are you gonna get a surf there while you're there, I guess?
Oh God, I hope so. I'm just looking at the forecast going like, oh, it looks kind of windy. But I hope it's not pouring rain. On the day we get married, it looks like it's gonna be partially sunny with maybe a couple drizzles. There might be a rainbow. That'll be fine. I don't care. But
Yeah.
yeah, I hope I'll be there for like 10 days. So I really hope I'll
Oh,
get this, a couple of surfs in.
yeah. Yeah, and I mean, when it rains there, it's usually, just a little bit and then
And then done. Yeah.
you're done and then you're good for the day, and,
Hope so.
yeah, I think that'll be pretty fun, and um, so then, okay, so then when you're teaching then, so, like, how old is the oldest person that you started teaching?
That's a great question. I started teaching a guy that was 70 years old this year, and
Okay.
he might have been 68, but he's in his 70s now. And we've been working for a couple of years, and he's just great. Also, he just loved it. We had so much fun. And then he bought a house right at this private, he's a rich guy and a great guy. He's a
Yeah.
writer and a great writer, a writer that I didn't know who he was or anything. I don't always Google my clients or anything. I'm just out there talking to him,
Yeah. He's a
and I
guy going to
find out that
surfing.
he's a great writer that's written an amazing book that changed my life. I'm like, you're Jay McInerney. And I'm like, Bright Lights, Big City. He's like, yeah. And like, we have had such a fun relationship, just having him have fun in the ocean. And he loves it, man. He lives in New York, but he bought a place in Malibu and he just comes out. We go surfing every September. It's really, it's good, man.
That's cool. That's a great way to do it. And then,
I
yeah,
don't have a lot of clients. I don't work that much, but when I do work, it's nice. It's fun.
yeah,
It's good stuff.
yeah. I was gonna say, I'm 40, and I was like, okay, well, I mean, is that? I don't know if that's too old,
You're
but I mean,
young for my, yeah, no,
yeah, okay, that sounds good.
that's not, someone says they're 40, that's nothing. When someone says
Yeah,
they're in their late 60s and 70s, I'm like, what kind of shape are you in? Like, are you in good shape? Because
yeah,
I don't, I am trained in CPR and everything, but I want my client and myself to be able to rescue each other should one of us be in need.
yeah. That's a good
Because it might
person
be
to
me
have there.
someday.
Yeah, hopefully not, but you never know.
Yeah,
You
but we
gotta,
don't go for life threatening situations, but just surfing in itself, you're in the ocean, so that the hazards are, grave. It's
yeah,
very, people, you can't breathe underwater, and it's very easy to get, do something wrong and find yourself in trouble in the ocean. Ocean doesn't care what kind of shape you're in, so we train, we're out there training, and it's
yeah.
really, I just try to make it fun, but we are training.
I mean, yeah, that's a whole body workout there. I mean,
It's a whole body workout.
that's everything. I mean, yeah, there's people who run marathons or are doing other kinds of anything else, but I mean, they're not, yeah, that same sort of shape is in a lot of core strength and stuff of that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I like to go. I don't surf. I boogie board, body board, whatever it's called. But yeah, I don't know. It takes a lot of strength. It takes a lot of core strength, even just for that. Just core strength and upper body strength. Then yeah, you got to get your legs and everything and
Yeah,
be
just moving around the ocean. It's good. I used to liken it to wrestling. There's a term
yeah,
in surfing. I know you know a lot about wrestling. There's a
yeah,
term in surfing called wrestling the alligator. And that happens when you're caught inside and you've got a big board and you've got to hang on to your big board through waves, through whitewater waves that are trying to push you to the beach, but you're trying to get out. And I'm like, it's wrestling the alligator, bro. You just hang on, flip it over, flip it back over, keep moving, it's up to you, otherwise this board and you are going back to the beach, which happens to everyone. I said, like, don't worry, we're going to try to get out, but like, listen, I've been surfing all my life. I've left the beach and said, okay, let's go out, and started paddling and been paddling for 45 minutes and never gotten out. Ended up getting washed back to the beach going, well, I tried. It happens to everyone.
yeah. I mean, yeah, the ocean's not going to really care too much where you want to go.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's fun. It's just fun, but it's not always like dreamy. Like, oh, that was usually with my clients. Like everyone gets to stand up and ride waves, but when
yeah,
you get to a certain point where you're really challenging the ocean, it's like we'll be lucky if we get out, and then we'll be really lucky if we catch one in, and that's the goal.
yeah.
We're
I
gonna
mean,
try to get out there and catch one in.
that's a good way to do it. And then
Yeah.
you can, yeah, keep. Then will you go like a day or two in doing this, or will you go? I mean, it's usually when you go on these trips, are you doing,
Oh, I
a
mean,
number of,
it all depends. Sometimes I'll just work with a client for a day, but sometimes my clients come into town and I'll work with them for a week straight, like this. I spent Thanksgiving up in Santa Barbara surfing with a client 6 days, and it was great. Trips, obviously you surf every day for the time you're there, a week to 2 weeks. And then when, down around here, like in the summer, I'll pick up randoms, hey, I'm in town for a day. Can you teach my kid can you go surfing with my kid? I'm like, absolutely. That's fun
oh,
too.
so then with that then, so are you able to like, I mean, how long will it take somebody? I mean, you can only teach someone so much in a day. You can only teach someone so much in a week. If they, someone is going in to do I mean, a surfing movie is one thing, but I mean, you said you do the consulting, which is basically like you're, a stunt coordinator, but with surfing.
Kind. Yeah.
And so I mean, you got to tell what's going to look real, and because I mean, there's probably stuff that the director or whoever writes the movie wants that's just wouldn't look right in real life if someone who's a real surfer saw it and go, oh yeah, that's just bullshit, whatever that guy's
Yeah.
doing.
Yeah,
So
totally. Totally. I mean, it's like if you're working on a movie and you've got an actor who has to play a surfer, and there's no way in hell in 2 months or whatever, in 8 weeks or 12 weeks while you're training, the person's going to be able to do what the character does in the movie. That's just not going to happen.
yeah.
So they use stunt doubles for things that actors can't do. But what you can show in a movie of an actor doing is mostly close-ups of them paddling, close-ups
Oh
of them, going in and out of the water with their board. And if you don't do that correctly, you just obviously don't surf, and paddling is the most important thing, because surfers can watch someone paddle and decide whether they can surf or not, basically. And then, your pop-up, they can get a camera in the water on a tiny wave and have an actor paddle by the camera, their face as they look to stand up and drop down the face, the camera can make it look a lot bigger than it is. And then they cut to a stunt double, from a distance, dropping down and turning,
yeah.
if it's a girl, if it's a guy, you just want to get them in the water. If you can teach them how to duck dive, which is not an easy skill, but if you can, that's great, because you get to see their face going down and coming up, and you just want to see their face in close up, and then cut to a stunt double doing something that takes years to learn. So
Yeah.
that's different, teaching, working with actors who need to look like they can play who are playing surfers, instead of a human being that's got like 4 weeks on vacation and they just want to stand up on a surfboard and ride a wave and go, fuck, I'm surfing, and that's
Yeah.
easy. That's easy to teach, because you just put them on a huge board. You find a gentle wave. You teach them how to stand up and paddle, and stand up and sit up and turn around and paddle and stand up. And you teach them how to, paddle back to you on a small day, and you push them into a wave. The hardest part about surfing is catching a wave you want, and
Yeah.
then getting to your feet, in that order: catching a wave you want and getting to your feet. Once those two things are accomplished, surfing's easy. It's everything around getting that to happen that is difficult.
Yeah.
But I don't want to give away my secrets or anything. I'm interested in how you learn to wrestle, quite frankly, but you don't have to talk about it. You probably
Well,
talk about it.
and I mean, yeah, it's sort of the same thing. It's all everything that leads up to it. And like wrestling a match is just nothing pretty much. It's just the final result after, months and months and years of training and trying to get, because I mean, there's people who like you got to be in a different kind of shape too with that. And it's like there's people who are 400 pounds who can go around the ring and not get all tired and just blown up. But then you got people who are coming right out of the Marines and they're in there and trying to do the same thing, and after a minute or two they're just
Yeah.
they're beat. And so I mean, there's definitely you got to have that right training to be able to do the right thing. And yeah, with surfing, I mean, that's a whole different game there. And um so then how'd you get into surfing? What got you? I mean, that's you were there, so
Into surfing? I
yeah.
mean, I saw someone ride a wave up in Carmel. I was born on Carmel. I went to this beach that my mom used to like to go to, Carmel River Beach, or might have been Carmel Beach. I was a little tiny kid and I saw a guy on a bright red board go at a diagonal on a green wave with white water exploding, this huge green face and a bright red. And then someone had a bright yellow board, and there were long boards. This is the 60s. And they're riding at a diagonal. And I was just, look at that person. They're not coming straight. They're going down a diagonal. It was just so beautiful. I knew I wanted to do that. But then we moved to San Jose, then we moved to fell. And then we moved to Palos Verdes, and when we were in Palos Verdes, there's a beach there. There was just a landslide at Rat Beach. And my dad just made me, I said, Dad, I want to surf, you know. So he goes, well, you got to learn how to swim. So he put me in swim lessons. My dad was a lifeguard when he was younger on the East Coast. So he was very
Oh,
comfortable in the water. So he used to take me to the beach and like and this is so important when you're a little kid. We used to go out in the water and hold me through waves. We go under waves, over waves, try to body surf waves, because he was very comfortable in the ocean, because he was an ocean lifeguard. And that's what made me kind of really fall in love with the feeling of being in the waves and in the ocean. And I said I wanted to learn how to surf, so he put me in swim lessons. As soon as I learned how to swim, he could take me to the beach, you know, me and my friends, and drop us off. And then from then on, it was a pure, you know, sport we do with our friends, you know, and look at magazines, you go to surf movies and surf. We were in this, it's a very unique club, or more, it was back then anyway, you know, people, because it's not for everyone, people that were into it were so into it, you know, that would just take over their lives. And it did mine, you know. It really was some super, that and acting were the two coolest things I did, you know. And
so
I was like, that I got super into. And sometimes those two things would compete for importance in my life, you know, like I need to put all my energy into surfing right now. And then, you know, at the detriment of acting. And then other times I'd be like, I'm just going to put all my energies into acting right now, you know. And I would become not as good a surfer, but you know, I didn't want to just be one thing. I love both those things equally. And I'm lucky that I got to do either one of them at all, you know, at a certain capacity that I've been able to. I'm very grateful that I've been able to be an actor, you know, and I'm very grateful that I've been able to still be a surfer at my, you know, at my age and through my whole life, even though there are times when I forego surfing for years, you know, when I'm, you know, training and acting. And then there's other times when I'm like, okay, I've done a little acting, I just want to surf, you know, for a while. People in
sure.
the acting industry would be like, you're crazy, man. You're in a business where you got to be all in. I mean, you got to strike, and you got to, if you want to have a life, you know, in this field, you got to be all in on this. And I was like, I need to go surfing right now. It's a weird thing, you know, but you know, it's worked out fine for me. I have no
Yeah.
regrets.
Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, it's the same thing. Like, I could have had some, you know, job where I would have been set, but then, you know, I got a little older, and it's like, well, you know, if I don't do my wrestling, but it's like I gotta do both. I can't just you know, doing this or you know, doing any other, you know, acting stuff or anything or comedy. Like I can't do just one thing. It's not for me. And yeah, I mean, if you were able to somehow get those both together, because you were doing stuff before, you were doing acting gigs before you did North Shore and Return of the Living Dead and stuff. So what sort of got you in there? And I mean, how did you have to leave surfing at that
Oh,
point too?
how did I get into professional acting, you mean?
Well, yeah, I mean, so if you were like between surfing, like where were you at surfing when you decided you were gonna go more acting?
Okay. And by the way, before I forget this, because my mind goes all over the place, you know, yeah, I was looking at your resume, like, because you said I want to interview, and I looked at it, it's like wrestling comedian. It's just, I was like, this guy really wears different hats, you know. I'm like, that's a
Yeah,
pretty interesting podcaster, and also really cool collector of clothes and things. I was like, this guy's really all over. I like this
yeah,
guy. He's
thank
not
you.
just one thing, you know, and I can relate to that. But
Uh,
anyway, I will say that I was surfing. I was going to UC Santa Barbara, and I was on the surf team, and I wasn't that good, and I didn't love competing. I didn't come from a competitive background in surfing, but I joined the surf team just to get a key to this beach that had some good waves, and I felt special. Really, I just joined it for the shirt, but I'm glad I did it because I like to claim it.
yeah,
But I was there, and I realized I wanted to be an actor. And in order to be an actor, I knew, you know, I didn't want to go do regional theater, even though I have nothing against it. God, I love it. But I just didn't think I had that wasn't my goal. I wanted to be an actor in Hollywood and work in TV and film. And I knew I had to move to LA because I'd never lived in a city, and I wasn't sure I could live in a city. I was very naive. I was just a surfer, you know, on the beach with a thing. And I grew up I didn't know the city. And I went, I'm going to move to LA. And then my mom happened to get very sick with cancer, and I dropped out of UC Santa Barbara. I moved down to San Diego. I stayed with her until she died. After she died, I transferred to USC. I auditioned for the Bachelor of Fine Arts at USC, right in the middle of LA. And I got accepted, and I went into an acting program. And I had decided after my mom died, I was going to pursue whatever I loved. And at that time, I wanted to be an actor more than anything. And when I went there, and for the next 6 years or so, I hardly ever surfed. I mean, I just focused on training. Well, that's not true. That's not true. When I was going to LA at USC, I discovered Hollywood and the club scene, the nightlife scene, the club scene in Hollywood. And I was totally into it. I was one of those disco dummy guys that would go out till 4 a.m, 3 nights a week, to the clubs, and just to the detriment of my schoolwork. But I was like, this is the coolest fucking thing in the world. I have finally found my people. I love this. But when I graduated college, my ride was over. You know what I mean? I was so lucky. My dad said, I'll pay for your education, but it's over after that. You're not getting anything from me, but I will pay for your education. I'm like, thanks, Dad. It's like, you're studying acting? Like, it was just like, it's mind blowing to a parent.
Yeah.
When I went to USC, but when I graduated USC, I just was all in on acting, just doing plays, taking classes, getting jobs, and just traveling around doing little gigs as an actor, in horror movies, and stuff like that. But I was all in. Surfing had no interest to me until I got the audition for North Shore. And I'd done like 4 or 5 movies by then. And I was a film actor, I was going to be like a film actor for the rest of my life. I wasn't even thinking about surfing. Yeah, I can surf, but I don't do that anymore. I'm doing this now. I'm living in Hollywood. I'm an actor, and I get this script, and this character that I get to audition for surfs pipeline, the best wave in the world. And I'm like, I need to do this. I don't know if there's any other actors in the world that can do this, but I can, and I campaigned really hard to get that part. I'm very lucky they gave it to me, because it changed my life. While I was doing that film, I got back into surfing in a big way, and I have never let it go. I had a conversation with my guru, Jerry Lopez, and I told him I don't surf anymore. I just don't act. And he goes, John, you should not quit surfing. You're great at it. It's something you love. You should surf for the rest. You can surf for the rest of your life. It's free, and it's so good for you. Don't ever quit surfing again. And I never have since then. I've been a surfer and an actor, and it's been great.
So
Did I
then,
answer the question?
I think you got it. I think you got where I was going. So then, did you know any of the people? Were you surfing any of the people in that film then, beforehand, or did you know them, or was it
No, I
just
didn't
all
know
new people
anybody in
that?
that film. I mean, there were the professional surfers that were in that movie
Yeah.
were in posters on my wall when I was growing up. They
Oh,
were my
unreal.
idols. It'd be like, I'm going to go hang out with The Rock, and we're going to do this, thing that for like 4 weeks, and have lunch together every day. And we're going to spend some time in the ring then we're going to do some comedy, and then we're just going to go shopping. And I mean, we're going to talk a lot, it was like, these guys were my idols. And then I just happened to, and I'll love them for the rest of my life, no matter what, because I've worked with them, and they're not only that, but were great people. They casted, they got really lucky with their casting, but the actors that they cast had to surf. And I've become best friends with the lead actor, Matt Adler. We bonded on that movie. We've been close ever since. And after I get married in March, we're going to the Mentawais, to a really, really beautiful surf resort way up in Indonesia, because he surfs, and we're like kids when we go surfing together. We've been surfing together forever, and we still do it. And so I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, we all became really good friends who worked on that movie. It was a good experience for us.
So you two just sort of hit it off. You and Matt just sort of hit it off, and you're good. And, just like, okay, well, let's keep on, stay in touch. The old,
Yeah, we became best friends, and we hung out together all the time. And then, our life went different ways and stuff. He quit surfing for a long time, and he got married. He's got a kid, and he works a lot as a dialogue replacement ADR guy, voiceover actor, and he makes a fortune, and it's a really lucrative job, and he's been doing it hardcore for a long time. But he started surfing again like 4 years ago or what. He just called me up and goes, "Hey, I'm gonna start surfing again. And I want to go on a surf trip to a perfect spot on the world. I can afford anything. So I don't even want to surf until we go to this magic place." And I'm like, great. Like 10 years he quit surfing and he got back into it. And now by the end of that trip, he was surfing as good as he was before he quit surfing. And he's a good surfer. And then since then, he's gotten so into it. He bought a place out at Point Doom, this really exclusive private surf beat community.
Oh,
And he goes surfing in this little neighborhood he lives in that's hard to get to and very exclusive. And he is a better surfer now than he has ever been.
wow.
And he's probably 58 years old or 59, and he's, just so you know, he's better now than he's ever been. So
That's awesome.
that guy just blows my mind. Yeah, what he's capable of and what he's done with his life. It's great.
Yeah. And then, so have you gone and, do you go and surf down there with him down at
Yeah, he lets me
by
in
his place?
sometimes, like he'll like call like a couple days a month, he's like, "Hey, Johnny, I got a day off. I'm going to go surfing. You want to come meet me and go surfing?" And I'm like, "Yes, I do." I don't turn that invitation down unless I've got something going on.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great day, just, okay, well, gonna go out and surf
It's
with my bud right now.
my
And
buddy in a little private little community that's hard to get to. And it's like going back in time. It's like
so
going back in time. It's great.
what are the waves like there?
They're gentle and they're beautiful. They break over rock reefs, rocks, and the
Yep.
hills are just beautiful. There's cliffs. The wind is offshore predominantly, which is very unusual in California. So it's curved. It's a curved point, and it just has the predominant winds make every surf spot in California shitty all day long, except for a couple spots that curve and point east. Really, those spots are groomed and glassy and offshore if there's cliffs. And that's what this place is like. It's kind of like going to the ranch.
Cool.
It's really, really beautiful and really cool.
So, I mean, yeah, I mean, that's can't really beat that, just getting
Can't
to
beat it.
have yeah.
It's as
And
good as it gets. We go out there and I go, after a session, if we get lucky, I'll be, "Matt, this is as good as that place in the Mentawais we're going to go. This is easily as good as any day we're going to have up there. We just had here right in your home, at your little beach house." And I mean that. I mean, we surf now for different reasons, like it's more of a holistic thing. The experience of getting in the water together, being in the water the surf doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to a place to hopefully get perfect waves, but the waves are just good. It's just as fun as anything could ever be. It still does it for us.
so what is it about it for you then right now?
You're focused in the moment. There's a freedom. There are no cares. You're just appreciating nature. I mean, at my age and my level, when I get in the water, I just appreciate being in the ocean, looking at the rocks, looking at grass, looking at the clouds, the sun. When the sun hits water that is exploding off of a reef, it fills your body with these negative ions that make you feel good. You're doing things with your body that fill you with dopamine and serotonin, whatever, oxytocin. You're like, sometimes it's thrilling and you feel there's fear involved, but you also have to be focused. So you get a lot of that thing they call the zone. When you're in the zone, your body's you're rescuing yourself while you're putting yourself in harm's way. There's skill involved and total focus. So it just, like, that's how the Navy SEALs train. They try to get these people in situations where they come in the zone. You don't even have to talk to someone else. You're doing your work. You're communicating telepathically, and you're just performing at peak level. There are, if you do something wrong, you're in danger, and then you got rescued. But it's just, I can't say enough good things about it.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a bad deal at all. I mean, you like just being able to be that happy out and in
It
your
makes
element
it's
that
happy.
often.
You're
Yeah.
happy and free. You feel very youthful. No matter how old you are, you just feel this primal appreciation for being a body in the world, being and being able to appreciate it and being conscious how amazing it is to ride a wave. It's just amazing. Ha, it's like a commercial.
It might be. Yeah, so if anyone, yeah, if you ready for a commercial. Um, it's I don't know, because I mean, yeah, like I had a dream last night about being in the ocean, and I mean, I don't get to do it often. I get to do it maybe once every 5 years or so, and it's just, but it's something that anytime I go on a trip, that's all I do. I end up just in the ocean the whole time, and it's great. I mean, I'll pay a little bit more for airfare, but then and lodging, but then once I'm there, I'm not going to the attractions or going out and doing the extra life. It's just I'm just wanting just to be in the ocean. I'll come in the end of the day, I'm tired and I can't feel bad. And I mean, yeah, I feel it, and I just, even though it's only once every 5 years, I want to go back. So I mean, you're getting to do that nearly every day, and
No.
no,
Oh, no, no.
oh, okay.
I only work like maybe in the summer, I work 3 days a week, maybe
Oh,
four
okay.
days a week at the most, and then I do these week-long trips and stuff. Like I'm gonna go on a trip, but I haven't surfed in 2 weeks.
Oh, okay. All right.
It's a
So
weather contingent sport, and I don't, when I go to Hawaii, I'll surf a bunch of times, but
yeah,
I'm not surfing here like right now. I go to the gym just to stay so that I can surf. When the waves get good. They don't get good that often. And I only go surfing for fun when the waves are good. And right now it's super cold. There's very few, my clients aren't in town. I do anything but go surfing now. And I just wanted to say, um, I had the actor's nightmare last night, and I have a recurring actor's nightmare. I have one like every week. I get the actor's nightmare. When you're like you're in a play and you don't know your lines and you're not prepared, but the play's on. You got to go on, and you're trying, and it's just a panic, like anxiety dream of, am I going to be able to do? How am I going to do this? I don't know I haven't rehearsed this. I'm not ready. That's the actor's nightmare.
yeah.
And it's like, I was going to like look it up. I was going to wake up and look up significance of the actor's nightmare, but I've been having it for a long time. It's crazy. Recurring actor's nightmare.
Interesting. And so, I mean, so then when you have it, what does that do? Where's that put you? Like what kind of mindset does that put you to go forward more? And I mean, to want to study your lines more and learn it more? Is it kind of set you back a
In
little
my
bit?
in my dreams, and I know it's not just actors that get the actor's nightmare, but I have a
I,
feeling all actors do. And
I
so it
think
just
so.
means that my subconscious still identifies as an actor, like I still, because I've done so much acting that I know what it's like to have to memorize lines for a play. And I know what it's like to have to memorize lines for a movie and not be prepared for a scene, and auditioning is all just this, auditioning does the same thing to your psyche as working does. It's like, I've got to audition, I've got to perform between action and cut. Nothing matters but what's happening between action and cut. And if you haven't invested, like in auditions, you don't get to invest 2 weeks into every word you say, so you're throwing this shit out there. I'm like, I just started auditioning again this year. I've got 1 year back in the game, and now it's
Cool.
all done with a ring light at home through a computer. And you have someone else, like, I don't even have someone else read my lines anymore. Because everyone's tired of shit of doing that. No one wants to do that. So I don't
Yeah.
have any friends who will do that anymore. So I just have to make everything a monologue and I'm like 30 auditions for zero. Like I've gone up 30 times for zero results, because I'm getting closer. I'm getting better. But it's just, I think it's some psychological thing of not being prepared, for the inevitabilities of life, or I'm in the game, and I better get serious about it, really serious,
Yeah.
like it's life or death kind of thing. It's funny.
Well,
Well, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, well, it seems like in your subconscious, you do. You do. Oh, go ahead. I mean, you do want to be there, and so I mean, I mean, that's what the dream sounds like. It's about. And so I mean, like,
I think you're
you're
right.
there. you're
I think
there.
I,
And
I think, yeah, I'm back. I want to go all in. I want to really get some experience back in that. My
yeah,
psyche is pushing me that direction. I'm
yeah.
dreaming about it.
What how
You're
would you
dreaming
feel?
about surfing and I'm dreaming about acting.
Yeah, a little bit. And so it works out all right. Have you thought about hypnosis ever?
No,
Would you be open to that?
shit, you're a hypnotist. Fuck.
Yeah. If you'd
Um,
be open to, we could do something if you like. If not,
maybe
I'm not gonna
I'm
put
kind
you
of
on the spot.
scared. I'm kind of scared of that of hypnosis, but
Understandable.
I'm half open to it.
Okay.
I know
Well,
it's
yeah,
I have friends that have quit smoking through hypnosis. So I know it's effective if it work, it can be very effective
if the person wants it.
if the
And
person wants it.
if the person wants it, if the person doesn't want it, it's not worth it. I don't even do it if people don't want to. But
That's right. Hypnotist, comedian, wrestler.
yeah,
That's just the tip of the iceberg, I have a feeling. That's
yeah,
a that is a broad range, my brother.
it's fun. Yeah, I got into hypnosis like 4 years ago. I busted my knee. I was walking across a driveway. Never got hurt wrestling once, and I was walking across a driveway with hardwood flooring, and I stepped in a hole
Oh,
and twisted my knee, and then
oh,
that was that. And so,
that
yeah,
hurt.
all those physical jobs went away, so I needed something new. So I don't know. I got down. I got pretty like sad and depressed after that because I didn't know what to do. And then yeah, talking with a psychiatrist, and she gave me a book, and one of the things in it for a job was to be a hypnotist. And it's like, hmm, that could be interesting. I think I could do that. And I mean, I was terrible. I was horrible at school. I don't know why I went to school ever. I barely passed high school, barely passed. I went to college I got a 2-year degree in college after 16 years. And then, yeah, I mean, I was top of my class in my hypnotist class, but
Oh,
yeah, it was just something that finally sort of clicked. But yeah, I mean, just weird random things happen, and you got to sort of move forward with what you're doing. And I mean, and yeah, when you get that 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 dream, I mean, it's coming, it's right there. And so I mean, even like, I mean, what kind of, oh, what's your cat's name?
keeper.
Keeper. Oh, that's a good one. I
She's a
like
keeper.
she. Yeah. Um. So then, yeah, I mean,
How would we
it,
do a hypnosis? Would we do it on Zoom?
yeah, I can do it on Zoom. That's like I started doing that when I had an office in Portland, and then when I moved to Minnesota in um, early 2019, and I thought I'd be snowed in for months. So, and the office space there was really expensive. So, and I was working with some people who were afraid of not, whatever. They didn't like leaving their house in the first place. So, being able to just go like, hey, I can just do this over, over Zoom or over a phone call. Um, and so, I mean, that's been great. So it took a lot of people a lot of time, but then once COVID hit, people started doing Zoom, and then it became a lot easier to be more accepted about it. But yeah, I mean, just yeah, do it over Zoom, and it's pretty all right. And then yeah, that way I can stay at home, and then that way whoever is doing it doesn't have to go into some weird office. They can turn their camera off if they want and just lie in bed with their eyes
Wow.
closed. And yeah, it's pretty all right. But yeah, so one more thing I was gonna talk about. So with Point Break, so in Portland, um, there is uh like a comedy club, and they do a Point Break show, like
Point Break Live.
Point Break Live.
It's a
Uh
play
it's a play.
based on the
It's
movie.
based
And
on the movie.
and the
It's
script and they auditioned for Keanu's.
Yeah, you know about this.
Dude, it's the longest running play in the history of theater. It's always playing somewhere. It was the longest running play in Los Angeles. ever.
Oh, okay. All right. So then
It's traveled all around the world. That is such a fun night. I've been to it twice.
did you just in the back, just watching and taking it
Oh
all
yeah,
in?
just watching. Yeah, just watching. Yeah, I went with the writer Peter Iliff one night and Bo Jesse Christopher, and uh, Peter was laughing so hard. He wrote the screenplay, and the
Yeah,
play's script is exactly verbatim from the screenplay. I mean, they've condensed it quite a bit, but the lines are all lines that he wrote. They're just delivering them in a very different way. And
that's so
yeah, we
cool.
watched. I've seen it 2 times, and it's just a great night of theater. I'm just, I love that. Point Break Live is phenomenal.
Okay, yeah, I had no clue it was all
Oh,
over the
so
world.
much
That's
fun.
yeah,
Did you see it?
yeah, I saw. Yeah,
Heard
I
about
went
it.
there. No, I went there right before I moved. I went with I went with my brother, his wife, sister, and her husband, and my girlfriend, and yeah, man, it was great. It was tons of fun, and
Good.
yeah, I mean, because I'd done comedy at that theater and stuff too, so it was always
Oh,
kind of cool, and yeah, to go back to that place, and then yeah, we saw that was going like, okay, yeah, and I have some buddies who were in it, and so yeah, I had to go check it out and make sure that it was good. But yeah, I mean, I was laughing my ass off, and then
good.
yeah, and so yeah, that was fun. And so I guess let's see. So one last thing, I guess I said last thing was the last thing, but
No,
so
no, go ahead. I'm just gonna text my fiance and tell her I'm on the air right now.
cool.
I'm on
All
the air
right.
right now. I love Zoom.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's made everything so much
Changed the
easier.
world. Yeah.
You don't have to, I mean, I don't know. I was able to go a lot of places, but yeah, now I don't have to. If I want to, I can. Like when I started this, I had a place in Portland. You got,
No, no, no.
oh,
I
oh,
flexing my thumb because I hurt my thumb
okay.
yesterday.
Oh, okay. How'd you do that?
I got in a fight with a crazy person at a nail salon.
Okay. All
I,
right.
I went and got my toes done.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Okay. Those
Nice,
are looking
right?
good. Yeah. Nice. Nice and black.
Anyone got any foot fetishes out there? Look at that, man.
I hope so.
This might be my favorite interview for that moment right there. And I'm
I
sitting
think
there with a
so.
bunch of women. I know
Looking
you're
out.
right in the middle of the story, but I got to process this.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there. I'm the only man in the shop. I'm right by the door, and a crazy guy comes in with a bike. He's like, I stole this bike off the bus. I could do the same for you. Like he starts bad mouthing and verbally harassing the women at the door. Like the woman in front of her, look at you got boils all over your mouth. What's the matter with you? And the owner, I'm like, the owner comes out and comes down and goes, excuse me, sir, you have to leave. This is a business. He starts yelling. And, I was kind of frightened because he's really manic and he's obviously crazy.
Yeah.
And he's assaulting he's berating these women, and he's being really cruel to them. And I just went, am I supposed to do something? Am I like, these women look at me and I'm like, oh, fuck, I got black toenail polish on. I go, hey, and I lost my temper. I kind of went into a little rage, and I got in a fight and I pushed him out. I said, I had to drop an F-bomb. I would have handled the situation totally differently in retrospect. Now I would have gone, hey, Jesus, because he said he was Jesus. I go, Jesus, I love you, man. Can we talk outside? They're trying to relax, but let's you and me go talk outside, okay? But instead, I just grabbed him and pushed him out and hit him. And, he said, I'm going to spray you. I'm going to cut you, bitch, like all this shit. And I'm like, oh, maybe this guy is going to fucking try to stab
Right.
me
Yeah.
and spray me with mace. I'll spray your face. And I threw a punch at him, and I don't know how to, it's been a long time since I've thrown a punch in anger. I think I broke my thumb.
Yeah.
I don't, you're probably trained, but I don't train in martial arts anymore, boxing, but I
Right.
still threw it just to keep him from having the ability to reach in and grab whatever he was grabbing for, and
Yeah.
I got
It's
so upset, that he finally left, after it was physical.
yeah.
But then the owner came up and said, hey, that happens all the time. They're crazy. He's mentally ill. I go, that happens all the time. You let him talk to your employees like that and threaten them and insult them and make everybody uncomfortable? You don't even call the cops? She goes, no, we don't call the cops because they won't come. I go, they won't
Well,
come when something like that happens? She goes, no. And I can't leave this in fun. We got a great location, but that we have to deal with that. That's just part of life in the city. Crazy
yeah,
people come in and they're crazy, and we just try to get them on their way without it. And I'm like, well, so I'm sorry I lost my temper. I just know a lot of the girls were like, thank you. He was making me very uncomfortable.
yeah,
But I was like shaky because I've got a fight with a stranger, a crazy person at a nail salon that took out onto the street, and I'm throwing a punch in anger, and I might have clipped. I don't know. Anyway, maybe I should go take Krav Maga or something so that like the next time it happens in a nail salon, I don't hurt myself when I'm trying to physically get someone through violence to get away from a certain area. But Krav Maga, I know they teach you to get away from the thing, but I couldn't get away from the threat. I had to move him away, and then I shut the door. It was just, I got to process it. It happened yesterday.
sure. So where were you? Were you were you like had your foot up and
Yeah, I was up there getting my nails polished. My feet were purple. I'm sitting there, and like there's a woman on this side of me who's like looking at me like, this is scary. And there's a woman on that side of me who's like, what's going to happen? This is escalating. And I'm like looking around like, call the fucking cops, to the lady. And she's just watching, and they're just talking. He's getting more and more violent in his talk.
Yeah.
To the women that are, and I'm the only man. And I just thought, fuck, I have to step up right now. And it's kind of, I don't know, a weird gender pressure, but there's something about it. I did not like the way he was talking to those women. He was a bully.
Sure.
He was a bully. And I know what that's like. I've been that guy, and I've been the other guy. I've played a lot of different roles in this world myself. I've been the abuser, and I've been abused, and I've been a hero, and I've been a villain. So at that moment, I just thought, I think I can fix this situation. But unfortunately, I'm not really trained that well in it.
You're
And
trained well enough.
it escalated before it got worse, before it got better. You had two people fighting and got fighting in the doorway of the nail salon till I got them out on the street to move along. And then I got mad because they wouldn't call the cops because the cops wouldn't come. I just like, this is a crazy way to live, man. But this is life in the city.
Yeah, and it's pretty common now, like for that
Common.
in most cities, they won't come for a lot of stuff.
Cops won't come unless somebody gets hurt.
Yeah,
That's
and
what she said.
yeah, and it's like you have to wait until they get hurt. It's not
You gotta wait.
impending doom of someone getting hurt. It's someone's hurt. We need you to come now.
I was I was like, wow, it's real. Cops won't come. Owners won't call them because they know they won't come.
They've tried it before.
They've tried it before. They go, yeah, we see dead bodies on the street. I'm thinking like, there's all these ladies getting their nails done. I'm like, getting your nails done is gnarly, man. This is a gnarly environment. If this happens all the time, and all these people are used to it, I'm the only one that's never done it before. And I go in there and it blows my mind. I have to get in a fight just to feel like I'm doing the right thing in life. And it's just, I'll think about that next time I get a mani-pedi.
I think so. Yeah, just be ready.
Got to be ready when you're getting a mani-pedi.
Yeah, I mean, who's gonna? I mean, you see someone coming that's like just has gotten their fucking toes done, and they come after you. That's someone like, yeah, probably don't want to be fucking around right then. Like with this person, they're getting up from getting their time in. They get their pampering time, and
there's comedy in there somewhere, bro. I know it. I just haven't found it yet. I'm processing it.
It'll get there. Well, hey, John, thank you so much for coming on. It was awesome talking with you. I enjoyed it, and nice getting to meet you.
Super fun. Is there anything else you wanted to ask? I know I took off on that story, but
no, that's cool. Okay, so then I guess one last one. So
yeah,
when someone comes up to you, a random person, what's the most common thing that someone will say? Someone that knows who you are.
Dropped $1. Or I think I was in line before you. Nobody, are you talking about people recognizing me as an actor in LA?
Yeah, yeah,
Or anywhere in the world?
yeah,
In
yeah.
terms of that, it doesn't happen very often. If I go to a neighborhood where there are surfers, if I go
Yeah.
somewhere and there's a surfer present, there's, a beach community, Santa Barbara, Hawaii, where there's surf culture, then I
Yeah.
will usually get someone will come up, I can tell if they're thinking it just by the look on their face, but if they actually come up to me and have that look in their eyes, I know like this person is a fan and wants to see if I played Turtle in North Shore. And
Huh.
then they'll want to list a couple other of my credits because they're fans. And I know what it's like because I'm a fan, and I am
Sure.
so grateful and so nice to these people in this moment. I'm like, yes, thank you so much. It's a very small group that like would appreciate that. And I'm like, thanks, man. You made my night. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, I'm a fan, so thank
Oh,
you
thanks.
for doing this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's like
My pleasure. Text me and
yeah,
text me, Rusty, about hypnosis, and we'll talk about it. Not
I
today,
will.
but
Yeah. Like,
soon.
once you're back from your honeymoon, and yeah,
Thank you.
congratulations and
Thank you.
enjoy that time. Yeah, you bet.
Thank you
And
very much. Yeah, this is
yeah,
fun. I want to see it. Send me a link or
yeah,
whatever.
I will send you the link. And yeah, so thank you everyone for listening. And that's the show, man.
You.